The good thing about what we do, and specifically here in Białystok, is that we have such an OMiLAB here in the city, and we did some collaboration with the people from Metallcluster, Sebastian, Janusz, as part of one of the research projects that is called DigiFOV, about how do we build capacity, how do we build competencies within the young generation, the future generation, to close and overcome future challenges that might occur. Before we go into content, I would like to ask you a question. Because I'm not a professor. Many of you are professors. You're used to talk to people and to lecture, and that's actually your proficiency. I'm not a lecturer. I'm a innovator, I would call it. And what I would ask you, when you go outside the door and you see all the great exhibition stands out there, what kind of association do you have with that one? Is that fear? Who has fear of robots and AI and what we have seen? Who raises his hands? No. A little bit. So there's 50% yeses and 50% no's. The rest of us, we agree, right? We say that is a great approach, a great way into the future. What I would ask you to reflect, based on what I have understood from the morning session, is, well, when we think about such systems and we design those, we have ourselves in mind, right? But when we innovate a new environment, who should we have in focus? Who do we need to imagine in the future to work with such infrastructure and such environments? I to give you an example, I use my son always as the evaluator of things. He's 10 years old, he's the digital native of the future. There's no fear. There's no fear of a robot, independent of the shape that it takes, independent how it looks like. And what I would like to play around with you is what we do as part of the Open Models Laboratory as an exploration space, as an experimentation space that allows us to identify how such systems can be designed and can be realized. This should work, right? Yeah. This is what I already said. Some words about my person. I think I don't need to go through that one. I will share all the slides afterwards with you. You can download them, so please feel free to go through them. I have 40 slides and 20 minutes. That means it will never work out, don't worry. We will then skip those parts that are not that relevant. What I would like to introduce to you, I mentioned it beforehand, what we try to establish is a community. Why do you think is a community important for the work that we do currently, independent of the field? Well, we have to understand that we don't know everything. We know only as much as we can work together, collaborate, and put into a common frame. The second aspect that is on this slide over here is we would like to work on open artifacts, right? Open, what does open mean for you? Is open is access, right? We would like to provide access to the information, to the artifacts that have been developed, and also share that one in the sense of a sustainability measure. Sharing. We are in the sharing economy. This is what I learned. I'm by education and a technologist, so I'm reusing terms that I don't really understand. But what we see here is that we need to find possibilities to sustain results that have been produced. Maybe a question to the professors. Maybe you have this as well. You have a great master student. He finishes the degree. He hands in the thesis. And what happens afterwards? And this is what we try to overcome with this community, that we have a sharing space of these open artifacts, specifically in the field of conceptual modeling. Let me see where we get now. And how do we realize those conceptual modelings? We have the idea that we would like to establish digital innovation environments. Okay? What does that encompass? It encompasses that we need to have a thorough understanding what goes on when we talk about transformation, digital transformation, and innovation aspects. To give you an example, I heard a lot of buzzwords today in the morning. The young gentleman showed us pictures of the Gartner studies, mega trends, etc. When I use the term artificial intelligence, what do you associate? Maybe you have a statement for me that you can use. What is your association with artificial intelligence? Perfect, perfect. A system that figures out a solution by itself. Is it really by itself? No, it's a transformation of the human interpretation, cognition, logic into a machine representation, and then it can actually work. And we have a lot of different flavors of those artificial intelligence technologies, right? And what we skip typically is we don't look into how this is done. So when we think about AI, we need to consider there's something called symbolic AI, where we describe the system in advance. We have a model of the system. We have sub-symbolic AI, and we need to understand that as well. But the important thing is when we are on business level, when we design a business ecosystem, we use the term We don't have a clue, essentially, what we are going to do, and we still use it and we still try to provoke that this is a meaningful thing. Maybe Gartner told us as a company we have to use it, so we don't even know why we do it. And this is what we try to overcome with those digital innovation environments that consist of models, conceptual models. You know what conceptual models are? So a representation of an environment, of a system under study in the way that it is interpretable by the human, but also by the machine. So we have an interaction possibility from the human to externalize the knowledge and describe how this is done. What I have here, I skipped through those, and I would like to go into detail what we see in this environment. The environment is not only a software piece or an environment that you can download on your PC, but it's a physical space. And we have established these nodes, and I have highlighted the nodes that are most relevant for us here, because we are in Poland, right? So local cultural aspects are also important. We have 16 nodes currently active. Each node is individual, so we don't enforce anything. That has the important aspect that we would like to establish domain-specific expertise on the node level. For the two marked ones in Poland, that is in an industrial node in Warsaw, BUC Poland, and it is the Polytechnika Białystok, just around the corner here. Maybe I hope I said it correctly. If I made a mistake, then I apologize for that one. How can you imagine those things look like? You see that here in the background. On the right, you see the industrial node in Vienna, BUC Vienna. On the left-hand side, you see an academic node. And these have a physical flavor, like a laboratory. You remember OMiLAB, lab stands for laboratory, and we would like to provide to students and practitioners a space where they can experiment with technology, with conceptual models, with business ecosystems, and evaluate how those things work. What you can recognize here is we have such table setup. This has a specific meaning. When we think about modeling scientifically, we think about abstraction layers, right? So we have a very high level of abstraction, typically on the business level, where we think about business models, where we think about ecosystems, actor relations, and things like that. We have a more formal level, but it's about the models that describe how things are done, processes, organization, artifacts. And we have a physical layer here at the bottom, where we can recognize, well, there are the robots that perform something. So what we would like to establish, that the high-level view of such a business environment breaks actually down to the way how the robot performs. You can follow my thought experiment now. When you go outside and you see this one robot that delivers the sweets to you, did you understand how you can stop it? No. You have to run after it, right? I mean, I was trying to get something and I didn't manage to do it. But maybe this is a decision on purpose. Why? But because somebody on business level in our abstraction layer said, well, we need to make sure that people run after their sweets so they stay healthy. Maybe this is completely wrong. It's an interpretation of how things could be done. But what is important to keep in mind, well, we have this breakdown in order to come up with a technology or a transformation that supports a business need, a capability that is described in the form of a business model. Let's have a look into one of such labs. Let's hope that it plays. That's a short video just to give you an understanding how that looks like. I will jump back a bit. Is that okay with the microphone when I move? All right. We enter now one of the laboratories in Vienna. What you see here is we have a space that we call creative space, and that is actually supports design thinking techniques. Design thinking means I have people from different backgrounds, stakeholders from anywhere, marketing, product design, technology, come together and work on a new idea. This is not data-driven. On purpose, okay? It's not driven on the past, but we look into the future. We think how we can do things in the future, applying a design thinking approach that has been taken from SAP scenes. Here you see the layout that we have, that I mentioned beforehand. So the scenes, the business model come into this setup. They are transformed. We call that one decomposition. So we decompose a high-level idea into concrete representations in the form of models, and they are further broken down and aligned with the abstract capabilities of such robotic devices. We do not have these large things in our lab, but we have small, tiny cars just to demonstrate that a specific aspect could work. So that means when we run such a model, we configure how the physical environment, the cyber-physical environment will react, and we can understand whether this reaction is meaningful and purposeful. jump over this and now over here. Just a short statement on our network of nodes that we have established. On the left-hand side, you see all the nodes that are surrounding us. Just the logos, I give you the home exercise to Google them if you would like to understand where they exactly are. On the right-hand side, we see our industrial partners, Industrial Digital Innovation Environments, BUC and Hilti. I think you know Hilti, right? Drilling machines, the red box drilling machines, super expensive, but heavy ones, correct? And they use that one, for example, just to, because I visited them 2 weeks ago, what they do is they have a product service offering. So you don't anymore buy a drilling machine, but you rent or you pay for every hole that you drill. Okay. The next step for them is we don't want to pay for the hole, but I pay for the thing that I put on, and they guarantee you that the device is ready, the device works, everything is available, and it can be combined. Good. The local partners. We have heard Sebastian speaking in the morning. Metall Cluster as a partner hub. We need those hubs, as we have heard also from my colleague in Austria, who represented this cluster and hub infrastructures. I believe this is very important since this distributes knowledge. It's a knowledge hub, a digital innovation hub maybe even, that picks up the local expertise and acts as a mediator between these different flavors of science, industry, and knowledge exchange. Right. Quick view in the lab in Białystok. So if you are around, I guess you are around, this is not far away. You can visit Professor Utz, I hope I said it correctly, in his lab just around the corner. And of course, the network is open for addition. So in case you want to join, if you want to be part of this network, there's the opportunity to join and to work together and collaborate on these aspects. Just a quick view how we do that one. I still have time, right? Or is it? Okay, good. 5 minutes, good. I will stop just before our case study, and then I'll give the rest to you as a reading exercise. What we do is, this is based on the work of my mentor, Professor Karagiannis. We use abstraction to reduce complexity in a domain for a specific purpose. Okay, that is the definition, in a sense, on a very abstract level, what conceptual modeling is. Important terms, purpose, right? So we do that one because we want to reach a goal. Abstraction, to reduce the complexity, means that we look at the system and we describe it in a way that it is adequate and meaningful. Our approach, conceptual modeling, I mentioned that before, and we distinguish now here between what we would like to support, the business model in the digital age. So when you think about how do you want to offer business in the future, how do you want to run your organization in the future, what kind of possibilities do you have? And you need to, in order to provide that one, you need concepts, you need to have an understanding of the methods, and you need to have tooling in order to support that one that actually allow us to create such model artifacts that are here on top. I would like to give you an example on that one. I mentioned that before I jump through that one, just to give you the full framework and the full picture of technologies and approaches that we support as part of OMiLAB. Everything is open. This is the invariant. So what you can see here, you can download, you can get directly. But it is important to understand that we have this distinction between, not distinction, but we have a combination of a business ecosystem creation, in a sense, where we do design thinking, where we develop conceptual models that relate to the way how a business should be organized. We have the technology part, the digital twin, another buzzword, of course, but we describe the capabilities of a system, abstract those, and combine those in smart models based on common approaches and technologies that you see here at the bottom. I will want to just give you one example, and I will jump through those slides quickly. Just let me do that. Right, that you have an understanding how such models look like, sorry. So for the highest level, this describes actually a case how we would like to offer smart mobility in the future. What you see here is our understanding of a model of such design thinking exercise. We have iconic representations, we annotate, we elevate this information and describe how this offering should happen. So we assume we have a guy who wants to move from his house to the city and looks for a parking space, and how this parking logic can be described and can be broken further down. We then break these things down into models that describe the actual environment, technology, processes, interaction, location, data, etc. Why is that important? What I said in the beginning, we would like to understand in detail every little aspect how the system is established and what kind of dependencies we have. Maybe to give you an example why that is important. I talked in the break to some guys about car sharing. Do you have car sharing in Poland? Yeah. There's an app, I guess, right? You open the app, you look for a car, you book the car, jump in, and you go and you leave again. First question for you is, why does this work? People need it. That's from the business point of view. Perfect. Why does it work technologically? Very simple. Because the car is digitally available, right? So you have a possibility to unlock a car. Imagine you cannot unlock the car with your mobile phone. Then you need to produce millions of keys and distribute them somehow. That wouldn't work. So this is the technology layer that is important. The other aspect, when it comes to using this app to find those things, I would guess there's a Google Maps integrated where you find your position and the closest car that you can rent. Imagine what happens if Google Map goes down. Then you don't earn money, right? So you need to understand, I think from an economical point of view and a business point of view, you need to understand every little dependency that you have in there in order to overcome such issues. The alternative would be you build your own map service. But will you do that? Will you develop your own map service? I don't think that will ever happen again. Good, but this should be described in such models, and what our lab then provides is an environment to experiment how that works. What we see here is an autonomous car, or actually two autonomous cars, and the idea that I would like to show here to you is how does it work when we change the way how car sharing works, namely not I select the car, but the car compete for me. So I say, I have a demand, and all the cars surrounding me make me an offer and would like to provide me with those details. What does that mean? We describe in a digital way how the offering process works, put that on the car, simulate results, and can then perform those kind of things. It should start to run now. Let's see. I think that's the case. Yeah. So we provide offerings. Go up. That was too quick. The video didn't start today. Let's wait. I still have a minute, I guess, right? Overtime already. I should be finished. Right, but we see it here. Artificial intelligence, reasoning logic runs on the car. The car is selected that actually can perform my operation and will go and pick me up afterwards. In the light of time, I will skip that one, and I would just make a short announcement in the end. There's a book series actually that you can get also here in the library about what conceptual modeling is and why we think that this one is important. The book is not written by us personally, but it is a combination of results of 26 research groups all around Europe. We have also the leaflet here with me, if you like. And the other initiative that I would like to introduce to you, since I believe most of you come from a scientific teaching background, we organize a yearly summer school called NEMO, Next Generation Enterprise Modeling, in Vienna, 2 weeks. In case you have students who would like to dive into this field, feel free to send them to us, make them apply to us. The next one is starting on the 11th of July. Still time to apply, but a very spontaneous one. Next year, again, in July. Good. I would stop here now. Thank you very much. And in case of questions, I don't know how that is handled after everything. Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.